What's up, y'all? Shook here, back with another video on the Resto Shaman, doing some 2v2 with Plum on his Windwalker. So this first match is against Double Mage, which is really hard to play at higher MMR. A lot of these games were in like the 2250 to 2300 range, so kudos to these guys. I think it was like 2 rank 1 players, and they played it really well. We should have the advantage versus this, but because Resto Shaman pretty much counters casters, but Mage is tough for Windwalkers to deal with, so kind of an interesting matchup, which is why I left it in here. But yeah, the games were pretty good for this session. We ran into a few counter comps, and it looks like 2400 is kind of where we're gonna cap out, and hopefully we get it before the season ends, because we've been focusing on threes too. Been doing threes on the Holy Paladin, and we hit 2250 MMR and 2100 current rating on the Holy Paladin. So pretty excited about that. You can see I'm going to purge off Altar here, which really just, that does him in. He gets caught in the static field totem there, and I purge off Altar. He has to block, and the other mage is trying to peel, so I'm just going to run over here. He's got the talent that heals him in Ice Block. You can see Plum just kind of trying to LOS a little bit. He does in-cap the other mage. That mage knocks him away. Then he uses Ring of Peace to block that mage. And right here he's going to poly. I'm going to dispel. He's going to poly again, so he's completely DR here. And you're going to see me, I just don't want to get caught in an awkward position because he doesn't have Karma anymore. So that's the only thing we really have to be careful about. Here's Ray of Frost. I'm going to grounding here. I'm going to ground this poly and start casting healing surges. They do get the poly on me, unfortunately, before I got it off, but he does take down the fire mage. So really interesting match. I've actually tried to play this exact comp like a couple seasons ago on my mage, and again, it's a lot harder than it seems. It's very matchup dependent, so kudos to these rank 1 players for playing it at this high of an MMR, because it's not a good comp by any stretch of the imagination. So this next one is going to be an Assassination Rogue and a Resto Druid. This is a pretty popular comp, around 2300 MMR. We faced it quite a few times. It's tough because they have so much CC. So right here, Plum gets bombed on in the opener. He goes ahead and uses his trinket. It's really important that we don't overlap our trinkets on that one. He is going to go for the Resto Druid quite a bit, but we can kill either target, and we want to swap around a lot. I want to be able to purge off as many hots as I can. I'm going to Lightning Lasso the Rogue. It looks like we got Tranquility from the Druid, and Plum is going to swap back. You're going to see me throw out some Lava Burst here, purge a little bit. I do get off that Mark of the Wild. He does get a bit of, it looked like a Re-Stealth there. He might have used Shadow Meld there. I think he used Shadow Meld. He's going to swap to me, so I am going to wall here. Looks like the Druid popped his form. Plum does in-cap the Rogue off me for just a second. One thing we don't want to do versus this Assassination Rogue is stack if we can help it, which is easier said than done sometimes. So right here he does get stunned. I'm going to lay Earthen Wall on top of him in the stun, and I'm just kind of trying to conserve mana a little bit. I'm probably going to run behind on mana just because I've been purging so much, but it's really, really effective versus the Druid. We do get Iron Bark right here, and Plum gets a double stun, which is huge. I'm starting to put up Flame Shocks on both target, and I'm just going to start hitting Lava Burst while, kind of tossing heals on the Plum. There goes the Iron Bark still on him. I'm going to Lightning Lasso. It is DR'd. It's only 1 DR, so it wasn't awful, but really I would have probably rather saved it for when we're going to get the kill. But it's a pretty short cooldown, so not too worried about it. I'm going to purge off that root and then root him. He is going to shift out of it, and I do get the cap stun on him, and it isn't DR'd, and I don't think it hit the rogue. So now he's a little bit DR'd on stun. It looks like we are burning through this Druid's mana really, really quick now because he's having to swap hots back and forth, and I am purging him quite a bit. Right here we missed communication. He kicked while I thunderstormed, but I was able to ground it anyway. But that's kind of unfortunate because we don't want to overlap anything. I'm going to kick that clone with my Wind Shear, and then I'm going to Lightning Lasso on top, and it looks like the Rogue's going to Garrote silence me. We do get NS, and there goes the double stun. It is DR'd, unfortunately, but it's okay. Double stun's still decent in that scenario. And again, we're getting decent pressure. I do Lava Burst that in cap there though, because I didn't know that Plum was swapping, but we got evasion as well. Here's the stun on Plum plus the Shadow Dance, so I'm trying to pick him up. He does Karma here, which is really good. Again, I don't want to move too close, but also don't want to be too far away. He's going to kill my Healing Tide, and I actually could have stopped that clone, but I missed it, so unfortunate. So there is the Iron Bark on the Resto Druid, so we can either choose to swap or just keep going. At this point, we are going to win on mana for sure, just because of we've been swapping around so much. So again, here's where we don't want to stack up, so I'm going to move away as far as I can, pop my wall, and Plum is just going to almost kill the rogue there, and then he does take him down right there at the last second. So kind of an interesting one. Normally, the rogues are going to put out a lot of pressure if you just get too close to each other. Here's another really good comp at this MMR, and it is Marksman, Hunter, Disc Priest. They just do a ton of damage. I would consider this one almost a counter comp, just because they just do so much physical damage. They kind of just destroy mages, and I feel like they destroy, you know, leather classes as well. So Plum's just going to go for... he's going to go for the Disc Priest in the opener, and it looks like he actually wants me here, which is honestly, I think that's a terrible strategy to be going for me. I just, maybe it works for him, but that just seems really, really bad compared to just hitting Plum and trapping me. And right here, he does get the fear, and you can see the priest is actually doing so much damage to Plum. This trap is DR'd. He mind games on Plum, and he's just doing, you know, huge damage. And in some of these matches that we had, the Disc Priest were out damaging the Hunter, which I thought was really interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to playing my Disc Priest a little bit more in the War Within. I get a full Lightning Lasso here, which is huge because Plum just gets a lot of pressure off that, and the Priest does use a Pain Suppression here. I go ahead and throw out Grounding. I think I thought he was going to Ultimate Penitence, but I don't know what I was doing with that Grounding. I definitely should have held that. And right here, Plum does get the double stun. I'm going to lay Earthen Wall on top of him because there is some damage coming out. I get silenced, and I'm trying to Ghost Wolf so I can just run away because I don't want to really get feared. I have Tremor available, but I just want to hold it for as long as possible. I don't have Trinket available, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm going to Dispel here. He's going to keep running, and it looks like Plum's LSing for the moment, and I'm just trying to toss out as many heals as I can. I think I got Grounding down there. I did get Grounding down, but it wasn't enough, so we do get Karma. So we feared off the Scatter. And it looks like he traps Plum here, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if he's trying to swap me while Karma's going. Yeah, he is. So I'm going to get a full Lightning Lasso here. He does have Trinket, and Plum chunks him, and he trinkets at the last second and gets taken down. So he actually had Turtle and Trinket there. He definitely should have Trinketed that full Lightning Lasso. So kind of an interesting one. Here's another comp that I don't think is a good matchup for us, just because they can take down Plum so easily. I do get polyed here. I go ahead and burn my Trinket, and I Grounding, but I should have kicked the Ray of Frost immediately instead of pressing Grounding, so that was a big misplay right there, because Grounding is such a big cooldown, and he was already casting Ray, so really bad. Right here, Plum is going to run at the mage. I'm going to try and cage him, and he actually blinks back out of it. I guess he blinked so far. I'm trying to purge him, so I want to keep him clean, keep Alter off of him and stuff like that. Plum's going to have to swap around a lot. I do get blinded here. Plum does use his Trinket this time, and he gets the Karma off. They can break Karma if they really want to. It doesn't look like they want to. They want to poly him. So I can purge him. I'm going to shear this Polymorph and then Lightning Lasso. If the rogue wants to stop me, he can, but he does blink out, so he's not running the whatever the blink is where you can cast while he's doing it with the stun, which is probably a good idea versus our comp. Right here, I'm going to lay Earthen Wall, and it's kind of weird. I probably should use the Totemic Shift, or whatever it's called, the thing that moves my totems, to move Earthen Wall back on top of Plum. We do get Ice Block here, and I'm just trying to not let the rogue get a re-stealth. I was a little too close to the mage there because I did get Dragon's Breath. I am going to use my Grounding here, and I need to get Earth Shield back up. That was a really big deal, but it looks like Plum might make it out of this. He gets Shadowy Dueled. I'm calling for him that I'm going to link, so I'm right on top of him, and I do get the link off because he incaps the rogue, so really dangerous there. It's lucky that we were able to live through that one, which is kind of what happens. Shadowy Duel's really powerful. He does get the poly. I'm going to Dispel him, and again, I'm trying to purge off the mage, keep him clean. I do get the Lightning Lasso. He blinks out of the Lightning Lasso, hitting him with the Lava Burst. He has, I think, one more block available. The rogue has used Cloak, and it looks like, again, he has walked through the thing. I'm going to ground this Polymorph. I have Shear available, but I want to kind of hold it for Well, for that poly would have been good, but really just Ray of Frost is super important to try and interrupt. So a lot of misplays in this one, honestly. We do get the second block here, and I do get rooted, which is really unfortunate, but I got the rogue rooted so he stays in combat and he doesn't get a re-stealth. And I'm going to get blinded here. I have Trinket available, so I am going to Trinket, and I got out of the way of the mage. Had grounding, but he karmas, so I didn't use grounding there. And they have no more ice blocks, and I think we've kind of finally lived through most of it. I'm going to try and purge off altar, got altar off, and it looks like we're getting ready to take down the mage here really soon. He doesn't have blink, so I'm going to lightning lasso here. He can't get out of this one, but the rogue does come and kick me. But yeah, we are going to take him down right here. So really tough matchup, kind of crazy, especially with how many misplays I made. The one at the beginning with the Ray of Frost, and then the other one with the polymorph. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed these games. Hopefully we're going to be pushing 2400 on this comp within the next couple weeks. I think the season is going to end in a couple weeks. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, helps me out a ton. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.